Hi everyone, my name's Alan Phillips. Earlier, I asked if there was anything specific you could think of that you wanted to get out of this course, and all of you said you wanted a better understanding of EMAC, of mutual aid, how it all works, so we're going to try to give you that today. If there are any questions during the course, please just don't hesitate to ask. So our objective today, as I said, is to give you a better understanding of mutual aid and how it all works. Day to day, what happens that causes one community to send stuff to another community or one state to another state. Any questions yet? Okay, so there's three different types of mutual aid. There's interstate mutual aid, intrastate mutual aid, and international mutual aid. Under intrastate mutual aid, that's your day-to-day mutual aid. It's from one community to another community. Under interstate mutual aid, that's a state-to-state mutual aid. For example, Massachusetts could send stuff to New York or Alaska or anywhere else that was in need of help. And then there's international mutual aid. Under international mutual aid, that allows one country to send stuff to another country. And basically right now, the eastern U.S. and Canadian provinces are part of an agreement called EMAC that exercises the international portion of it. Before we go any further, do any of you have an idea of what this ship and this Christmas tree have in common? No? I see a lot of head shaking. Okay. So basically, this is the Mont Blanc. It's a munition ship that collided with another ship out in Nova Scotia Harbor during 1917. This Christmas tree is one that was sent to Boston. It's been 101 years, and the trees are still coming every year as a thank you, as Massachusetts was one of the first and one of the only to send assistance to Nova Scotia during their time of need. So here's a little bit, a photo of the damage. You can see there the damage that happened to downtown Nova Scotia. And there's a lot more photos. The damage and devastation itself affected over 2,000 residences. There were many people that were left blind. People were obviously killed and injured. People had limbs amputated. It was a really bad scenario. And Canada had, Nova Scotia had had difficulty getting help from other portions of Canada. So they relied on the United States and Massachusetts, who sent the assistance. EMAC. EMAC is one of my favorite mutual aid agreements. This allows one state to send assistance to another state. So when, example, North Carolina had Hurricane Florence recently, so they reached out prior to the event and they asked many other states to send help so that once the hurricane passed through, they were able to respond and recover to the event and send crews out to rescue people and so on. My state was asked for help. Myself and another person from my agency went down, and we spent 2 weeks there helping the folks in North Carolina recover from the Hurricane Florence. Prior to that, I spent a month out in Hawaii working with the Hawaiian Emergency Management on their volcano. Last year I was out in Puerto Rico, where I assisted the people of Puerto Rico on the Hurricane Maria response. So this really gives you a lot of opportunity to both get experience and to help other states that are in need. And that's why we have this agreement. That's why it's currently in place. So what is EMAC? EMAC is the Emergency Management Assistance Compact. And it's a state-to-state mutual aid agreement that allows you to send and receive assets across state lines. If you notice here, EMAC membership, it's all 50 states. It's the U.S. Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, Guam, and all of these are all signatories to the compact. So we can send assets anywhere that's necessary. Why EMAC? Well, EMAC gives you a lot of legal protections. If there's any claims or any liability, you're covered under EMAC. One of the beauty of exercising EMAC is that you can use your license. If I'm a licensed EMT in Massachusetts, I'm a licensed EMT in North Carolina or Alaska or wherever I'm sent. So there's a lot of reason to send people under EMAC. It's what they call license reciprocity. So some of the important articles, you can see Article 1, which tells you the purpose and amendment and authority. There's articles here that talk about reimbursement. The articles talk about everything from the license reciprocity to National Guard and when you can and can't use National Guard assets. So how can you utilize this? Well, this agreement here is exercised probably more than any other mutual aid agreement. As you can see here, there's a long list of National Guard, whether they're under Title 32 or State Active Duty or Title 10. You could send personnel from fire departments, police departments, emergency management, medical resources, building inspectors. There's no limit to what you can send, and there's also no limit to the amount of equipment you can send. It's whatever one state can realistically afford to send to another one so that they can recover from the disaster they're currently having. So you can see here resources deployed under Hurricane Sandy. We've sent from Massachusetts, we've sent generators, we've sent personnel, we've sent communications equipment. We've responded to numerous incidents all across the U.S. and even to some foreign countries. So a little bit about the way EMAC works. There's their levels or operational components. Level 3 is more of a steady state, always there. Level 1 is the oh no category. So under level 1, that means there's something drastic, something pretty bad has happened. The operational support, how does EMAC work? EMAC is under the NEMA umbrella, which is the National Emergency Management Association. And what happens is they oversee and they take care of any grants or any funding that's necessary for this agreement. Then there's a national coordinating state. In 2012, Massachusetts was the national coordinating state, and that made me the national coordinating officer. So as chief of operations at the time, I served as the national coordinating officer, and it was my responsibility to keep up on all the disasters and what's going on and making sure that EMAC is exercised to its fullest during a disaster. So the EMAC process. You can see here that there's the pre-event, which is all your preparation. It's making sure that everybody has a knowledge of EMAC. They know how to go through the system. They know how to work, make sure that they have mission-ready packages, which is really, it's a pre-canned package of what needs to happen. And then the second one is the activation. And then the third one is the response and offer phase. So really what happens is if there's a disaster, and I'll use North Carolina again, such as Florence, they'll send out a national broadcast that'll go to every state. And they'll say, this is basically, the broadcast says, this is North Carolina, we need assistance with Hurricane Florence, can you help us? And then any state that can help will respond. They'll send back a response, basically in this case, this is Massachusetts, we can send you 2 people, and here's their credentials, and here's what it will cost you. And then the next phase, or the next part of that, is the what finalizes it and makes it a contract, and that's part 3 of the Rec A, which is the requisition A, and that basically says yes, we will accept these terms. So at that time, then the personnel and the equipment is dispatched to the state that's requesting the assistance. So you can see here, requesting state. That's what I said was the first part of it. That's the, hey, we need help, here's what we need. The assisting state, that's example, in this case it was Massachusetts saying we can assist, here's what we can send you, and here's what the cost is. And then the requesting state again says, okay, thank you, we'll accept it, and they're now on the hook. It's now a legal binding contract. EMAC operation system, that's an online system, that's where all the broadcasts are sent from. So frequently requested items here. You can see here that the most requested item in this, let me just take a look at this, is helicopters. Helicopters and EMAC 18 personnel, swift water rescue teams. Those are all heavily requested items. And those, usually people have what they call the Rec A, and that Rec A will solidify a contract. So that's just a little bit about the future of EMAC and how it's going to expand to include other territories and possibly down into Mexico and all of Canada versus just the Eastern Canadian provinces. That's what I talked about earlier. That's the mission ready package. A mission ready package basically says this here consists of these personnel, this equipment, and here's the bottom line cost for that. That enables you to quickly get these assets out the door should that be needed. So this is a little bit about across the border. This is the Canadian borders that we're talking about and assisting the province of Nova Scotia. That's a picture of myself and President Bush when I was down in Louisiana under EMAC. He absolutely loved the agreement and wanted to thank me for coming down, and so we had a photo opportunity. So remember, if you see something, say something, and don't be afraid to use mutual aid. Mutual aid is there, it's designed to help, and it's designed to be a force multiplier. Are there any questions? If you think of anything after this, there's my phone number and my email address. Please reach out to me and give me a call, or email me, and we'll answer any questions you have. Are there any questions now? Okay, thank you.